Welcome! Welcome to Went News. I'm your friend, David Roy. Pretty cold here and always uh, shivering in cold. Had to take out my room heater. Yes! And I was thinking why I can make a comparison between India and China. And keeping in mind our best friend, United States in between. Yeah, but before that, I request you please subscribe my channel and like me. Now look, India is a democracy and India is progressing very rapidly. Though I don't say it's a government driven. Indians basically entrepreneurial by nature. Living few, of course, we don't have few uh, state those are not so entrepreneurial. But in general, Indians have this culture of trade, commerce, and so, including Pakistanis. They're now going down and down, but I have big hope for them. Someday they will recover. Anyway, that is not the issue here. They are sucked by China and screwed, sabotaged by China because I will explain why China also tried in India the same thing. Now, people always try to say, China did that, China did that, China did this. How China did that? It was Henry Kissinger, that black face, who created this Frankenstein. I don't know. A lot of people suspected Henry Kissinger was a KGB spy, KGB mole in American systems. And James Jesus Angleton once said he was. But I met him, Kissinger, once. At that time I used to like him. I never thought he is such a big scoundrel. Anyway, uh, now see, China under Mao it was created. How it was created? Out of sabotage, Russian sabotage, Michael Borodin, this kind of people. China is not, communist China is not China. It is a Soviet state. A lot of people don't understand that. It is not China. Real China is in Taiwan, real China is in Hong Kong. Communist China is not a China. Just because they speak Chinese, that is not China. Number one. It's a part of communist expansionism and terrorism. However, India was created through political non-violence movement. And of course, previously we had also violent kind of liberation movements. But in general, Indians got freedom with a non-violent kind of participation by Pandit Nehru and Gandhi, etc. And look, the way Pandit Nehru envisaged India and his vision was democratic. Look, in India, you can criticize the government. Today, they have destroyed, a lot of people have destroyed that kind of thing, including BJP. But in general, in India, you can criticize government, you are free movement, you are free to do everything. A lot of people used to say it's a performing chaos. I will not totally reject that. But India is doing very nice now. But it has become a dull society. That is also another thing. But in general, India is not doing badly. It's a hope for Africa, as it was a hope in 50s that India became democratic and free. So a lot of African nations was inspired. But China, from the day one, was sort of, full of intrigue, sabotage, murders, mass murders. The Mao is to murder everybody. If you are not with him, you are killed. In India, that didn't happen. And after that, Mao did a terrible, terrible things like Cultural Revolution. in his palace he used to do orgies, and outside he used to do cultural revolution, so-called cultural revolution, destroying Buddha statues, looting others' houses, raping, plundering his followers. That's a communist culture. It's violence, violence and violence. India, that didn't happen. Of course, Nehruji trusted China, and China paid back with a backstabbing, stolen Indian land, and defeated India by backstabbing. Nehruji believed in, utopia. That we don't need police, we don't need army, we only police will do. China was like that. He helped China and gave China a seat in the United Nations, depriving India. Because his ideology, he thought it's a new country and old civilizational links. Bullshit! India and China, this communist country, has no historical relation. Its only partner is communist Russia. And he was, Chinese ambassador was treated as Acharya. I mean, it's a very high position in Indian pantheon. Now, these Chinese embassies and consulates are kept for spying. From 50s, they are abetting terrorist groups in Northeast, inside India, funding communist parties. And not only that, they try to sabotage Indian political system. I give you an example how they sabotage Indian Indian political system and Indian businesses. One, when Suzuki was working in full-blown way, Chinese communist-backed communist parties were doing labor trouble in Suzuki plant. So that, look, one more thing, how China dumped things to destroy Indian local market, local business. That has to be taken into account. Then send how they try to destroy Indian cigarette industry by sending lots of fake cigarettes, drugs, golds. These golds were used for corruption and funding terrorist organizations that came from Myanmar. These are the Chinese communist mindset. Same thing they did in Nepal. They used Nepal with 15 communist parties, make it a black hole, and it's a tremendous threat for India. The Indians do not know. Indians are little stupid people. I don't blame them. Joy Shankar is a talk shop. He talks everywhere, talking rubbish. But he has no brain for that. I don't like that, BJP guys. Uneducated ruffians. Anyway, now China, you see, after Mao, Deng opened the thing. You see, Deng said, lie low and wait for the right opportunity. We shall conquer the world and spread communism everywhere. He also said, getting rich is not bad. So what a contradiction. Same thing they did in Nagaland. Christianity and communism. They wanted to say revolt against India with communist ideas, but Christianity is there. How Christianity and communism can go hand in hand together? Christianity is the greatest enemy of communism. But yeah, China plays every game, wherever it suits. Then, after that, you see China has a political infight everywhere. Now in India, we don't have that kind of political infight. We have political adversary kind of postures in democracy, that is possible, but we don't follow classic democracy like United States or Great Britain. There are flaws. We have seen Indira Gandhi. She was a great woman, but she did an emergency which was very bad. And then we have today BJP's ruffians, divisive, full of hatred. That's a threat for India. But China's game is over. Now they hate each other. They have different kind of factions fighting with each other. And extreme corruption. China's extreme corruption. India's corruption. But not like China's corruption. Every company has links with Communist Party. Look at Jack Ma. That Jack Ma was also a spy for China. He came to India, and at that time I said, Jack Ma is coming, he is a PLS spy. He came to Tripura, the communist state. I'm sure he came for some aiding terrorists or drug deal. Now Jack Ma is out, Jack Ma has fled to Japan, Jack Ma is living there, his all money is taken. Jack Ma is not brilliant. He was a communist too, day one, day two, and even today. You cannot live in China like that. Wherever you see, it's a communist stooge and part of PLA. They don't know proper business. But India people know proper business. That's why India is coming out. 2027, it will be a 5 trillion economy. Now it has overtook Japan in car sales. I'm surprised. But India has done a lot of mistakes. Pandit Nehru did a lot of great things for India. And I'm a product of that. He used free universities, almost free. Today you cannot go to the university because it's so expensive. Unless you are rich, you cannot do much. This is a dangerous thing. Secondly, India has a lot of fault lines. And BJP government is doing that, doing elections, Hindu, Muslims, etc. But you see, that is manageable even now. But China is not manageable. China is thriving on lies and lies and lies. They cannot make even a vaccine for their own doing. Bioweapon, COVID-19. Lots of Chinese are dying every day. Crematoriums are full. China's banks have collapsed. China's export has shrunk. World Bank has given a report China will grow by 1 point some percent. And China's army is in tatters, still posturing. China's quality control, we know. Medicines are stolen. They steal all kinds of intellectual property rights. No respect for law. China's courts are sham. They use labor, slaves for manufacture. All the companies are leaving China. Even Vietnamese, communist Vietnam is planning to attack China sometimes. It's possible. I don't know, but it's possible. Philippines doesn't like China. Japan doesn't like China. But Indians are playing double game all the time. That is a drawback for India. Now, Indians must follow democracies like United States and West. But India plays double games, plays rubbing shoulder with Putin. But they don't understand. Putin and China is the same thing. Two sides of a similar coin. And India must also harness the relation, embolden the relation with Japan in Asia. Now look, I have to be very honest. Communists understand the pressure politics. Unless you pressurize them, you can't do much. You have to bring them, rub them on the sand. Then they will listen to you. Number 3, India's problem is, world problem is, the slowdown is happening. In India, we can see at other places, interest rate is going up. That is not a good sign. And oil price is coming down. Unfortunately, Modi government is not giving relief to the people. And other of our state government, it's now $79. But we are paying huge price for our oil bills. Now, in that scenario, we are seeing in future energy stocks, green energy stocks, etc. will do well. And at present in India, FMCG stocks are doing well. It is a very defensive mindset. Pharma is not doing well. That well that is to be. As COVID destroyed China, people thought pharma stocks will go up, but that is not happening. Pharma is doing as good as used to be. Now, I think China's infighting is more visible. People are revolting in Communist Party openly. That is unthinkable. And I think communist hegemony is going to be finished very soon. Soon means I am not giving timeline, but it's certainly showing lots of fault lines. And once communism is facing this kind of thing, that they cannot recover. And in world history, we have seen that. Anyway, this is my submission. India's future is very good. And I also wish Pakistan very well. They must come out of the Chinese trap and work with United States and other democracies and Arabias. Please subscribe me and like me, and thank you very much for watching me. Best wishes.